the Edo State 2025 appropriation bill of 605 billion 76 million 76. Let me take it again. 506 billion 605 billion. Sorry. 776 billion. Sorry. It's confusing me. Okay. Six.
Order in the House, please. Mr. Speaker must be held in silence, please.
Deep-seated trust and legitimacy. Traditional rulers. In many Nigerian communities, traditional rulers, obas, emirs, obis, etc., are seen as the custodians of culture, tradition, and communal identity. Their authority is often inherited, deeply respected, and sometimes perceived as divinely ordained. They are seen as close to the people, understanding their local concerns. People trust their traditional leaders, more than often distant politicians. Religious leaders. Nigeria is a deeply religious country. Pastors, imams, and other religious figures command immense spiritual and moral authority over their congregations. Many Nigerians view their religious leaders' words as truth, guidance, and even divine pronouncements. This creates a strong emotional and spiritual bond that politicians seek to exploit. 2. Direct access to a large electorate. Mobilization power? Both traditional rulers and religious leaders have direct, unhindered access to large numbers of people within their communities or congregations. They can mobilize voters, influence public opinion, and even direct voting patterns much more effectively than a politician might through rallies or media campaigns alone. Community networks. Traditional rulers sit at the apex of well-established community networks, from village heads to family elders. Religious leaders have extensive networks through their mosques, churches, and associated organizations. This allows for rapid dissemination of messages and influence at the grassroots level. 3. Moral and spiritual sanction. Blessings and endorsements. Politicians often seek the royal blessings or spiritual endorsements of these leaders. For many citizens, a blessing from their revered traditional ruler or religious leader can translate into a perception that the politician is righteous, divinely chosen, or has the community's best interests at heart. Framing political narratives. Religious leaders can frame political choices in moral or spiritual terms, even presenting support for a particular candidate as a religious duty or a path to divine favor. This can be incredibly persuasive in a highly religious society. 4. Conflict resolution and stability. Co-optation. Informal governance. While traditional rulers might not have formal constitutional powers, they play significant informal roles in conflict resolution, maintaining peace, and local governance. Politicians often engage them to gain their cooperation and ensure stability, especially during sensitive periods like elections. Gatekeepers of influence. These leaders act as gatekeepers to their communities. Gaining their support can smooth a politician's path and minimize resistance, while their opposition can be a significant hurdle. 5. Historical precedent and indirect rule. Colonial legacy. The British colonial administration in Nigeria and other parts of Africa utilized traditional rulers as instruments of indirect rule. This historical practice cemented their role as intermediaries between the state and the people, a role that persists even after independence. 6. Exchange of favors/mutual benefit. Material inducements. While not always transparent, there can be an exchange of favors. Politicians might offer financial incentives, development projects for the community/religious institution, or political appointments to associates of the leaders in exchange for their influence. Maintaining relevance. For traditional rulers whose formal powers have diminished, and for some religious leaders seeking influence beyond the spiritual, aligning with powerful politicians can offer a way to maintain their relevance, access resources, and exert influence. How this manipulates people. Emotional appeals over rationality. By using traditional and religious figures, politicians tap into deep-seated emotional and spiritual loyalties, bypassing rational scrutiny of their promises or track records. Suppression of dissent. If a respected traditional or religious leader endorses a politician, It can make it difficult for their followers to question or oppose that politician, even if they have doubts about their competence or integrity. Division and polarization. Politicians sometimes exploit existing religious or ethnic fault lines by appealing to leaders from specific groups, further polarizing the electorate along identity lines rather than on issues of governance. False sense of security. People might feel a false sense of security or hope, believing that because their trusted leader supports a politician, things will genuinely improve. Addressing this manipulation requires the very learning you spoke of: critical thinking, demanding accountability from both politicians and the traditional/religious leaders they court, and strengthening independent institutions that can provide alternative sources of information and guidance.